Hello guys, and welcome to Italy for another edition of this Backmarker career. And if you're new to the series, you might wonder why I chose to call it a Backmarker career when I'm driving a Toro Rosso, which is effectively a middle-of-the-pack car. But the fact is, I started out driving with the Lotus team for the first couple of races, and about 3 races ago, I was offered a contract with the Toro Rosso team instead. And seeing as it is a more competitive car, and we all like to win races once in a while, I chose to accept that. Hope you don't mind. Anyways, just messing around a little here with the setup. I wasn't entirely pleased with the ride height during training, so I've changed that a little bit. And what I'll be doing here is my usual setup is I'll be putting on option tires for each qualifying round, and I'll be doing no more than 2 laps on each set of tires. And if I can't make good times with those 2 laps, then that's just too bad. That's where I start on the grid. So this is our first lap coming through Q1 here, and we do 1:30.021. That's not a very good time, so we try another one. This is our second and last lap on this set of option tires, so it better be a good one to make sure that we get into Q2. And although it's nothing spectacular, it should be more than enough to vault us into Q2. And although we end up down in 10th position, we do make it on to Q2, which was the important part. Very important fact, though, Vettel, Ricciardo, and Bottas do not make it into Q2 for some odd reason. So they are going to start way back on the grid. And at any rate, that should be good news for us, as the Red Bulls are much better cars than what we're driving at the moment. So having those behind us right from the get-go is definitely going to be an advantage. Our first lap here in Q2, we have fitted a new set of option tires. We are going to be doing no more than 2 laps on these tires, as we're going to be starting the race on them. And we make it a 1:29.524, nothing spectacular. So we're going to go out for a second lap to make sure that we make it into the shootout. Coming up here on the finishing line, our second lap and our last lap in Q2 better be a good one. 1:28.935. Again, nothing spectacular. I'm not really sure why I'm struggling so much with qualifying here. I was making a lot of mistakes loose in the back ends coming out of turns. But at any rate, it's enough to vault us into the shootout. Coming up on our first lap here. Again, new set of option tires. We're going to be doing nothing more than 2 laps on these, as we're going to need them for the race. And a 1:28.188, better than our Q2 time, but still way back on the front runners. And while I don't expect the Toro Rosso car to be able to compete with the Mercedes cars, I have to say, I'm pretty sure I could have gotten more out of it than I did in this qualifying round. I seem to be making a lot of silly little mistakes, you know, just getting on the throttle too soon, stuff like that. And we didn't manage to improve on that time, so we end up starting 7th on the grid with our rival Raikkonen right behind us. I am aiming to get my hands on Raikkonen's seat before the season's out. We only have 7 races to do it, so essentially I am going to have to finish better in all 7 races, starting today. Anyway, skipping right to the action here, we have Verne directly in front of us. That's getting to be a nasty habit. Button on our right, and if we can make a good start here, we should be able to pick up some spots right here from the get-go. Button is having a lousy start, making a lot of wheel spin there, and we kind of have to take the long way across the track there, because I want to get the inside line heading into the opening chicane here, making it possible to dive down the inside here. We passed both. We didn't pass Rosberg. He dove down the inside of us there. I thought we had him there for a second, but we are up to 3rd spot, and we have Massa right behind us, all over us trying to get by. We're up to P3 after the first chicane, and you can just see those Mercedes cars. I mean, just as soon as there's a bit of straight line racing, those guys are gone. And behind us, it actually appears that Verne has overtaken Massa right now and is currently in 4th position. So we have the Toro Rosso cars immediately behind the Mercedes guys. And just look at those Mercs pulling away. Jesus. And as you can see there on the mini track there, Verne's definitely under pressure from somebody. It actually appears that he's forming a bit of a queue behind him right now. So if he could just hold up those guys for a little while longer, oh, he couldn't. spun or something like that. He stood still there in the chicane. I'm not sure what happened to him. But anyways, I was hoping he might hold up some of the other front runners, maybe for a lap or two. But oh well, that's not going to happen. So to summarize the first lap, we are in P3. We have the two Mercs right out ahead of us, way out ahead of us, in fact, Hamilton and Rosberg. We have Button immediately behind us. Raikkonen is way down in 10th place. That's very positive. And skipping ahead here to lap 4, we're starting to open up a bit of a gap down to Button. He's about 3 seconds down right now. We want to keep him there so he doesn't get the chance to open up that DRS on us. If that happens, we're not going to get rid of that McLaren anytime soon. So, and as far as I could make out, Raikkonen was up a couple of spots, but he was still about 10 seconds behind us, so that was a positive. And just looking at the times here, it appears that Button might have had an issue or something like that, because all of a sudden Massa is in 3rd place and he is about 5 seconds down on us. So I'm not really sure what happened there, but Button definitely lost a position. Skipping right ahead to lap 7, we are about 6 seconds down on Rosberg at the moment, and we have Massa immediately behind us, also about 6 seconds. So we seem to be kind of wedged in a bit of a sweet spot right now between 2nd and 4th, and that bodes well for our chances of keeping this position for a while yet. And just as I say that, it appears that Perez has overtaken Massa behind us and is now in 4th place. And he's about 6 seconds down on us here in lap 9. We have been in lean mode for a couple of laps, just trying to save some fuel here while we were not under any immediate pressure. So we're just going to switch it back into standard right now. And Hamilton is really going at this point. And skipping ahead to lap 11, we now have Bottas down in 4th position. So there's a lot of stuff going on down behind us. And not too much happening in front of us right now, because Rosberg is still 6 to 8 seconds out on ahead of us and is probably trying to chase down Hamilton. And we're kind of just sitting in the middle of everything where we have a clear track in front of us and a clear track behind us. So can't complain about that. Skipping to lap 12 here, our tires are starting to show some wear, and Bottas is slowly closing the gap here. He's closing about a little over half a second per lap at the moment, so he's about 5 seconds down on us right now, and he is probably going to be closing that gap even further heading down the stretch here. Skipping to lap 15, we have Bottas right on our rear wing here. We have lost the back end a few times on these dead tires, getting on the throttle just a little bit too soon, and it has cost us in terms of a couple of not so good laps. And at the moment we have that powerful Williams all over us here, and Bottas tries to move down the outside of us. We're just going to return the favor going down the inside. Not too much drama there, so but he is definitely lapping at a much better pace than we are right now, so hopefully we'll be able to keep it behind us on this final lap before we get into the pits for our first stop and get on a fresh set of tires, making us competitive again. And coming into the pits here for our first stop, I don't know if you noticed, but Hamilton is in the pits immediately ahead of us right now, so he's fallen back dramatically during that last lap. He was leading the race, and Rosberg was over 10 seconds ahead of us, so he must have lost a lot of time there. And I'm not sure what happened, whether he had a spin or a mechanical problem maybe. At any rate, we rejoin in 6th position, immediately behind Hamilton at this point. We have Vert immediately behind us, but he'll be coming into pit on the next lap. And Hamilton is going very slowly indeed. I'm not sure what's the matter with him right now. Skipping ahead to lap 17, there are cars in the pits. We'll be making up some positions here. Question is, are we going to be coming out ahead of Bottas, or actually he's going to come out ahead of us right there, and Hamilton is braking very early indeed. We're going to have to dive down the inside of him, not to crash, and Bottas is immediately ahead of us right now, and hopefully we'll be able to use the slipstream up the straight here, coming down into the chicane. Just might have squeezed him out just a little bit, but the marshal stays silent on that pass, so I'll assume there was no contact. So on lap 18, we find ourselves in first position at the moment. Hamilton has some sort of problem. He is lapping very slowly indeed, and Rosberg appears to be gone. I'm not sure where he is right now, as we are down to 19 runners out of 22. And I'm not sure whether or not maybe Hamilton and Rosberg had an incident that put Rosberg out of the race. Either way, their Bottas is coming down the inside of us. We're going to be returning the favor. Look at the mini track there. Hamilton is having braking problems. He's braking very slowly again, and Alonso comes up and rear ends him. And we are down to 17 running cars. So what almost happened to us on the last lap there happened to Alonso, and he is out of the race. Hamilton must have had trouble with his brakes there. He was braking very early into every corner, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Rosberg had a similar incident earlier in the season where Vettel came up and rear-ended him because he was having trouble with his brakes. I believe it was in Shanghai. So that's a little interesting, I think. The Mercs may be fast, but maybe their brakes aren't quite up to speed. I'm not sure. Skipping to lap 33, we're coming in for our last pit stop here on dead tires. Right now, we are in the lead of the race. We have Hülkenberg behind us, Perez behind him, Massa is in fourth. So we have the two Force Indias running 2 and 3 right now. So this is definitely turning out to be out of the ordinary race in terms of how the favorites are doing. And let's just see how we rejoin here. I'll expect us to be rejoining behind the two Force Indias. I'm not sure we're going to be coming out ahead of them. And it appears that one of them went in behind us, actually. So we have Massa immediately ahead of us. I'm not sure who's in the lead right now. It's either Perez or Hülkenberg. And in the meantime, we have Ricciardo right on our rear wing right now, but he's going to have to make a stop at some point, I would assume, because he started way, way down on the grid, and I don't believe he's made up that much time on us on 35 laps. And we make a bit of a mistake here running wide into the right-hander there, and Ricciardo is going to have a look down the inside of us there. We're going to let him pass, just not to get tangled up with him too much. Like I said, he's probably coming into pit here in the next couple of laps, so we can afford to let him go. Maybe even get a little bit of DRS out of him. I have to say the slipstream in this game is just unreal. And we get the DRS here as I can see Ricciardo is harvesting the ERS right now. Maybe have a look down the inside of him. Are we close enough for that? No, we're going to have to back out of that one. No need to risk the car. Just running wide there in the chicane. I'm not really sure what happened there. Skipping ahead here to the end of the lap, it appears that both Massa and Perez are in the pits at the moment, getting option tires fitted, so they are going to be lapping quicker than us here for the remainder of the race, and hopefully the gap that we've built up will prove to be enough for us to keep them behind us. But maybe we're worrying just a little bit too much about Massa, because right now we have Bottas about 1.5 seconds just behind us at this moment, and he's been giving us fits earlier in this race and is probably looking to do the same again. And jumping right ahead to lap 40, the situation is now this. We have Bottas about 4 seconds behind us, Massa's about 5 seconds down on Bottas, and Ricciardo is about 9 seconds down on Massa. So at the moment, things are looking fairly decent, but as you can see here on lap 43, Massa has passed Bottas, Ricciardo has passed Bottas, and those two guys are really going. At the moment, Massa is about 3.5 seconds down on us, and Ricciardo is about 6 seconds down on him. And essentially, it appears that this entire race is going to come down to keeping Massa behind us for the remaining laps. And skipping straight to lap 47, as you can see, Massa has pretty much closed the gap and is immediately behind us at this moment. We pull out of the racing line here, trying to break the slipstream, not to give him too much of an advantage. And in the meantime, we've been holding up Massa apparently, so that Ricciardo has closed the gap to him to about 4 seconds, so he's catching the both of us right now. Coming down the main straight, Massa's going to have all the advantages, the DRS, he's going to have that Mercedes engine. We try and adopt a defensive line here, trying to keep him from going down the inside of us, but he just goes outside instead. We're trying to have a look back down the inside, but he manages just to close us off there in the chicane, and we are down to second position right now. We're just going to try and see if we can't use that slipstream of his to maybe have another look down the inside of him coming into the chicane up here. And we just managed going down the inside, braking very late, almost running off the track there, and it sounded like there was some sort of contact. But again, the marshal stays silent, and apparently, I don't know if we touched wheels or something like that. As you can see right behind us there, Massa is not going to go away, and also Ricciardo seems to be closing the gap on us both very fast at the moment. Massa is going to have another look down the inside there. We take a bit of a defensive line, but he's going to have to back out. He does not have the line heading into the Ascari chicane, and we just managed to open up a bit of a gap here actually, which is, with 5 laps to go, might prove very, very valuable indeed. Skipping ahead here to lap 53 out of 53 laps, the final lap, we are in the lead. We have Massa and Ricciardo immediately behind us, but there's a little bit of air down to both of them, meaning I don't think they're going to be able to attack us immediately on any of the long straights right now, unless we make a mistake in one of the corners here. We're just going to try and pull out of the racing line here a little bit, breaking the slipstream to Massa, but he's still coming down hard, so we're going to have to take a defensive line here coming into the Ascari chicane. He tries going down the outside, but there is no room there, and we managed to close him off. Also, it means he has to brake early, opening up a bit of a gap. We almost lose the car coming out of the chicane there, and he's not going to be in a position to catch us before the bend. This is going to be our first win in this Backmarker career. That is right until we run out of fuel. Oh my God, you're not going to believe this. Very last corner, Ricciardo passes us, Massa passes us, we end up in third, and that's all she wrote, gentlemen. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I don't believe this. I thought I had the fuel management pretty well under control. I was checking it routinely to see where I was, and it said optimal. And we run out of gas in the very, very last corner. No freaking way. Well, at any rate, Ricciardo takes this one. Massa is second. We end up in third. Magnussen fourth. Paris fifth. I'm not sure what happened to Hulkenberg. He was up in third at some point, but he ends way down behind Raikkonen. And it appears that a lot of the front guys didn't finish the race there. Alonso is out. Both the Mercedes cars are out. Vettel is out. No changes in the championship race. Both Mercs are way on out ahead there, and it's only going to be a question of who's going to win it. At any rate, guys, if you enjoyed this, please don't forget to leave a like or subscribe even, and I'll be back with more Backmarker career races soon enough. Bye-bye.